The House That Jack Built, a 2018 horror film written and directed by Lars von Trier. The film begins while we hear the voice of God. Jack is talking to God. He wants to ask God a question, but God tells Jack he can ask whatever he wants, though he shouldn't expect to surprise him. Now Jack begins to relate different events over the years. Jack drives his car along the road when he sees a woman whose car is broken down. He tells her about a garage nearby. She asks if he would take her there. The woman has a wicked sense of humor. She tells Jack he could be a serial killer, that he looks like one. Jack ignores it. The van makes her suspicious too. She jokes that he should hide the corpse in the back of the van. She says that to defend herself she'd have to hit him with the car jack hard enough to cause real damage. They arrive at the garage. She says she needs to be taken back to her car. Jack waits for her. Now they're back where her car is. She tells him it was a mistake that the man from the garage saw them together, so Jack can't kill her so easily. Jack wants to leave, but she asks him to take her back to the garage. He accepts. Now they're both in the van on the way to the garage. Suddenly she tells Jack he's too soft to kill someone. Jack stops the van and hits her in the face with the car jack, killing her. Now God and Jack are having a conversation. It's intellectual. Jack speaks about the architecture of cathedrals. He says he's an engineer but always dreamed of being an architect. God suggests Jack has obsessive-compulsive disorder. Jack drives the van to an alley and takes the girl's corpse into a cold room. God and Jack continue their conversation. The corpse is hidden. God speaks about the police and the risks involved. Jack returns to her car and moves it out of police jurisdiction. On a different day, Jack is inside his van following a woman. She comes home while Jack watches her. He gets out of the van, approaches the door and rings the bell. The woman opens the door and asks who it is. Jack says he's a policeman and asks to enter. She asks for credentials. He says they're being prepared due to a job promotion. She refuses to let him in without a badge. Jack asks about her late husband. He's seen something inside the house that refers to his death. He offers to help with her insurance claim, saying he can increase the payout. She invites him in. She acts unusually. She's worried. Suddenly, Jack attacks her from behind, strangling her. He becomes aroused by the act of suffocation. The woman lies on the floor, barely breathing. Jack feels heartbroken and asks what he can do for her. She cannot speak. He touches her body, not sexually, but the contact excites him. He finally strangles her, then with a knife he pierces her chest. Blood stains her clothes. Jack sits her on the sofa and takes pictures of her. He goes to the van looking for something to wrap the body. He takes it out of the house. He returns and cleans everything. The house looks untouched. God speaks to Jack again. Jack cleans the house more and more. Everything must seem as if nothing terrible happened. He returns to the van. Suddenly he remembers more blood stains. He goes back and cleans again thoroughly. A siren approaches. Jack enters the van. He remembers another stain. He checks the place, no sign of blood. He returns to the van. A police car arrives. Jack takes the woman's body and hides it under vegetation nearby. The police car stops near Jack. A policeman questions him. He asks Jack to get out of the van and let him see inside. He says there's been a robbery in the neighborhood. Jack talks about the woman as if he's her friend. He says he's calling her, but she doesn't answer the doorbell. Now the policeman is calling the woman. Jack says maybe the door is open. Jack goes upstairs and enters the woman's home. As someone with obsessive-compulsive disorder, he checks places stained with blood to see if they're clean. He says strange things to the policeman. The policeman tells him to leave. Now Jack is in the van, driving, dragging her corpse wrapped in canvas behind it. He's talking to God again. Jack says the sudden rain is a liberation. It will erase the blood trail in its path. God tells him that a psychopath never admits he is one. Now they talk about Jack as a child in a cane field. Jack sits watching mature men mowing the grass with scythes. They work synchronously, efficiently. It's as if they show him what non-psychopathy looks like. Jack, as a child, plays with a duckling. With scissors he sadistically cuts off one of its legs, then throws it into the water. Now Jack is with a girl. Suddenly he strangles her. He talks to God again. She dies suddenly. He gets rid of the body, taking it to the great cold room, where other corpses have remained since before. Jack decides to take more photos. He's driving his van and sees a woman walking on the side of the road. He strikes her with the van. He stops and gets out. It's an old woman. He puts her corpse in the back of the van. God asks him to explain why he struck the woman. Jack says God created both the lamb and the tiger. Nature makes the tiger kill the lamb. The lamb survives eternally through art. Now Jack has two corpses in his bed. He prepares to take pictures of them. He makes different compositions. God says Jack's narcissism has no limits. Jack sends the photos to local newspapers. God speaks of repentance, Jack has none. He feels strong and confident, now they talk about family, Jack has never had one. But for him, the idea of family represented one of his best acts. A woman and her 2 children are visiting a place guided by Jack. He shows them a rifle. One of the children asks if they're going to hunt animals. Jack says one must decide what animals to conserve and which to hunt. The children want to climb the tower. They shoot at a target shaped like a deer. Now the woman and the children are hidden. Jack is up in the tower pointing the rifle at them. He shoots the little boy. The mother cries uncontrollably. Then Jack shoots the other child. Now Jack speaks to the children's mother. They simulate a picnic with the 2 children. The boy is already dead, but the mother pretends to feed him. Both children are dead. She feeds them with a spoon. Jack asks the mother what her favorite number is. He says it's a great number. He tells her the picnic is over and she can go. He climbs the tower, counting progressively. The mother remains standing. She knows she's going to be shot. She hides. Jack searches for her. He finds her. He shoots her. Now he makes a composition with the 3 corpses. God says it is absurd. Jack builds a model in his living space. Suddenly, he destroys everything. Now he's making a collage with photos of his victims taken from the newspapers. Now again, Jack talks to God. He says he's not feeling well. There's a corpse in the room. Jack manipulates the corpse with cables, needles, and other materials. The result is a smiling corpse. Jack speaks of a romance he had in the past. He visits a girl he once had feelings for. She says she hates the way he looks at her. She's crying. Now they talk on the phone from one room to another. She thinks he's going to leave her. But he tells her he's not going to leave. She smiles and acts more cheerful. He says he'll never leave her. He says he's there with her. They listen to music together. He acts sarcastically. He asks her questions, and she answers in ways he finds unintelligent. He becomes upset, tells her she's too simple. She feels uncomfortable and asks him to talk about what he does. He says he usually kills. That he's killed 60 people. That he's a serial killer. She says he's unusual. He offends her and threatens that she might be the next. He asks for a marker and paints lines on her now naked breasts. He feels excited. She feels strange. She leaves the place and speaks to a policeman parked outside. She tells him her friend has killed 60 people, and maybe soon 61. Jack comes out and admits everything to the policeman. The officer doesn't believe a word. He drives off, telling them to stop drinking alcohol. Now they're alone. Jack cries and asks her to forgive him. They enter her place again. She tries to call a friend, but the phone cord has been cut. She's deeply concerned. Jack seems asleep. She tries to leave quietly, hoping not to wake him. Suddenly he stops her. He's awake. He asks if she's leaving. She's very worried now. She asks if he's the serial killer the news is talking about. He tells her to scream for help. She does. He screams too, making noise, but no one comes. He opens the window and tells her to scream again. She does. But it seems no one hears, nothing happens. She feels totally helpless. He says that in this world nobody wants to help. He ties her up and gags her. She can't scream now. He picks up some knives and asks which one to use against her. He bares her breasts. He talks about men, how they're always blamed, that women are always the victims and men the criminals. He cuts her breast with a knife. Then he leaves the place and walks to a police car. While the policeman talks to someone, Jack places her severed breast on the windshield. She is already dead. Now Jack talks to God. God tells him that all the women Jack has killed weren't intelligent enough. This seems to satisfy Jack. He says killing women is more satisfying. Jack talks about society, as if he's a predator. He says the objective of a person lies after death, not before. God tells him that when he builds his house, he always demolishes it afterward. Jack uses the Nazis as an example. It seems he feels admiration for them. God says it's simply sadism, that Jack is another sadist. Now God says Jack is the Antichrist. Jack says heaven and hell are the same. The soul belongs to heaven, the body to hell. Jack drives his van to the alley. He stops and opens the back door. Inside the van there's a black man. Jack takes him into the cold room. There are more men inside. They're freezing. Men of various races, all tied, their heads forming a line. They're positioned to be killed with a single bullet from a rifle. Jack realizes the bullet he has isn't the right one. He leaves the cold room, takes the van and drives to a store. There's a man alone inside. Jack tells him he wasn't sold the right bullet before. He wants to buy the correct ones now, but the seller asks for his identity card. Jack doesn't have it. Now Jack leaves the place and drives the van. Suddenly the van is blocked on the road. He gets out and walks to the caravan of another man he knows, to ask for the bullet he needs. The man in the caravan points a gun at Jack. He tells Jack they know about a robbery he committed. He calls another man on the phone and says he has Jack there. Jack tells the man he considers him his best friend. Jack holds a knife the other man doesn't see. He keeps talking to distract him. He tells the man not to point the gun at him, that he's not going to escape. The man lowers the gun. He offers Jack a drink. Suddenly, Jack stabs him in the neck. The man dies. Jack takes the bullet he was looking for. Now a police car arrives. A policeman enters the caravan. Jack shoots him. Jack takes the police car and drives to his place, where the cold room is. He prepares to shoot the group of men with a single bullet that will kill them all. The police arrive outside. Jack can't shoot, the rifle is too close to the men. He opens the cold room door to stand further away. Now he's ready to shoot. God speaks to him. Jack looks around and turns on the light. God is there in the form of an old man. Jack doesn't understand how the old man got there. God says he's been with Jack a long time. It's as if Jack doesn't recognize the voice he's been speaking to for so long. The old man talks to Jack about the house he was building. The police surround the place, telling Jack to come out. God speaks again, so Jack realizes who he's been talking to all along. Now there's a house in the room. It's made of the corpses of Jack's victims. The police are about to enter. God tells Jack to follow him. They escape through a tunnel in the floor. Jack follows God, it's the way to hell. God tells Jack he might want to confess on the way. They move through the tunnel, water flowing around them. Jack hears buzzing. God tells him he wouldn't want to know where the sound comes from. God says, this is the sound of hell. He warns Jack about the suffering ahead. Jack doesn't feel well. God feels sick about him. The time has come to pay for his crimes. God couldn't stop the crimes before, but now it's time for Jack to taste hell. Jack feels it. He feels hell. He feels like someone who enjoys sadism, but sadism is not what awaits him. He will face punishment for the crimes he committed. But that punishment escapes what Jack has in mind. Now they're close to hellfire. Jack doesn't feel very worried because he hasn't felt it fully yet. Later, he will taste the feeling of hell. He tells God that the man he was, the cruel and sadistic man, is behind him. God tells him there's a way to avoid hell. Jack chooses to try that way. God says goodbye. Jack walks along a rock wall trying to avoid hell. He goes that way but finally falls. He falls to hell where he will pay for all his crimes and sadism.